All right, I think we should be golden now. See if that worked for us. Let's see here. Yep. All right, perfect. Michael confirmed that we are good to go now. Sorry about that. All right, perfect. Thank you, Daryl. And Wendy, excellent. All right, so really quick for the agenda that we're going to go over today is we're going to review welcome to ACL Teams. For those of you, if this is your first time hearing about ACL Teams, learning anything about it, we're going to review team size and structure, popular league formats, format options, match flow and scheduling tips, how to set a lineup, new features for the 24-25 season, creative ideas, why ACL teams, real world success, get ready to build your teams, and then of course leaving it at the end with any Q&As. Perfect. Thank you, 701 Cornhole Company. All right, wonderful. So let's get started. So welcome to ACL Teams. The best way to explain it is ACL Teams is a dynamic, flexible, and community building way to play competitive cornhole. So some of the simple things to tell some of your players is you can build your squad, boost the hype, and throw as one. So as a team, as a collective, you all work hard together to go ahead and, build something fun and exciting and hopefully win. So team size and structure. So a handful of folks have always asked, what's the best format? What's the best way to structure it? How many players do we need on a team? The best way to put this is a 6-player team is probably the best option. It gives you a lot of players, lots of flexibility with that as well. You can also do a 4-player team option also. Either which way definitely works out. Now, a couple of examples that you can do for teams is a skill-based. So you can say that you have either 1 pro and elite player, an advanced player, 2 comp players, 2 intermediate players. This gives you a lot of customization and flexibility so that you can run a skill match team event, or you can do a mixed option, or you can mix the best of both worlds. What's really good about trying to keep all of your teams balanced with a skill base is simply to do a handful of things. One is to, build up and put together teams who maybe have never played together before or never really had that opportunity. It is great training for the intermediate competitive players, and it really, really helps the advanced pro and elite players really learn how to communicate better, be team players, and making sure that they're cheering on all of their teammates and, helping them build up their skill levels. So these are all, really fun and exciting. I personally love a balanced team, but you can also do the exact same thing and just create just an intermediate team, a competitive team, advanced pro team, whatever it is that works for your area. So you definitely know your players best and what they would prefer to do. A couple of league formats that a lot of folks like is obviously your normal spring, summer, and winter leagues. Blind draw teams is always a lot of fun. We did used to have them at the Open Series, but it was a lot of different people, kind of hard, maneuvering through, a couple hundred folks trying to play this event. But it is a ton of fun to run a blind draw teams event at your state championships. A majority of players do know each other, but if they don't, they start building those connections, meeting players from other clubs, and it really, builds a pretty entertaining night for everyone to have. Draft style events. So one of our favorite types of leagues is a draft style league. What's really exciting here is you can select a handful of, teams. Let's say you have 6 different teams. So 6 teams of 6 is what you're working with. You select 6 players. Typically the first round, I always recommend having an advanced player. They're typically the ones who've already, used the teams format. If you have any pro players, they pretty much have been acclimated to that as well. Then that way they run a draft. So you do a snake draft, pull names, anything out of a hat, run a live stream, have an event that same night, whatever it is that works for you. High school and college team development. This is a lot of fun. We do have a youth league that has a couple of junior players. Right now, they're going in between singles and doubles while they learn how to play the game, how to keep score, how to, be good sportsmen, good sportsmanship, and things like that. Eventually, what we're going to do in our next phase of the league is we are going to separate school versus school as they start, bringing in some of these players. So that's where we're going to get a lot more of that excitement. Regional showdowns. This is a ton of fun. We have something similar to this called a mid-season bag brawl. Essentially, different teams or groups or players kind of come together, build a team. They are balanced teams for our showdown, but they bring them out, and it is a ton of fun. Everyone ends up playing each, or the two teams play on one singular court. They play every single game one at a time while their teammates get to cheer them on. So that one is a lot of fun. Adding it to a state championships or doing some type of a team invitational is also really, really good. We run a teams event at our state championships in Arizona. It is a huge blast. It's hilarious. Those ones are blind draw as well. So we do run blind draw teams there. A really cool invitational, I would say, is something very similar to what Joe Harsh does. So if any of you are looking for another option or even, more of a long-term team option, Joe Harsh also runs a really, really good team league event between multiple different teams. And they do a lot of competitions amongst each other. So that's pretty cool to see. Format options. So you have a lot of pretty, classic options. You can do, just singles and doubles. You could do 6 singles and add a crew cup, maybe 3 doubles, 3 singles, and a crew cup. Mixed format nights. Our last league that we ran, we followed the exact same format as the pro team. So it was singles, doubles, tandem doubles, and crew cup. It was a ton of fun. You can rotate the formats each week if you choose to, keep the same format, add little twists. It is a ton of fun to do. Match flow and scheduling. So make sure that as you create your team and what it is that you're doing, that you do try to keep it manageable. It can get a little wild when you have different captains and then players. Sometimes you need subs. So doing whatever it is that you can to manage that, whether it be creating a doc for that specific league that lays out, the rules, how you want everything, to kind of flow for that particular week. A week-by-week format with limited rounds, I highly recommend it. That's a lot of fun to do. It gives them a little bit of something different. You can do a 12 or 14 round limit, or you could even go as low as 10. That kind of helps you, keep everything moving along. And then once you get into the championship week, you can make that decision as to whether or not you want to keep it round limited or maybe play to 21. Rotating skill levels is a lot of fun. Some of the weeks, what we like to do is week 1 is skill based. So those players will always play against someone at their exact skill level. And the following week is random. You place players in random spots, see where they land. Ideally, a lower player ends up playing with an upper player, and then both of them get to learn something from that. And then, of course, round limited makes the game very different. A couple of examples. So you could say week 1, we're running all singles. Week 2, mixed doubles and crew cup. Week 3, tandem night. Whatever it is that's going to work for your area and, what makes it fun for you all. So how to set a lineup. We do have a great video on YouTube that you can share on your website, your Facebook group, email. This is great for team captains or any player on a team. So sometimes the team captain that you select might not be 100% tech savvy, which is totally fine. But what you can do is send it to someone on the team who would be, able to create those rosters and things like that. It is about a 3-minute long, video that goes from beginning to end. The title of that one is ACL Teams, Create Player Pool. It is on YouTube. I'll make sure to go ahead and also link that as well for you guys afterwards. Perfect. Now, some of the new features for 2025, so these actually just launched right before the pro season began this year. which is really, really exciting. So a couple of things that we really, really wanted to make sure that we did and focus on. And of course, a lot of questions from, directors and everyone who did start running teams, but there were a couple of things that really needed some updates here. There are still a handful of other updates that we have coming up for teams, but these were kind of the main ones that we really wanted to make sure that we had. So one of the updates is admins can now update a team roster, and that's, mid-season, or if something happens, we can make those changes for a player. Sometimes a player accidentally, does something wrong or puts the player in the wrong spot, or, something does happen. With that. So we now have the ability to make those updates and changes, or maybe a player's phone died, which we know can happen, especially if you have teams at the end of the night, they've been playing all day long, their phone miraculously dies, no one else has the ability to, make that adjustment. Now on the admin side, we do have that ability to now make that change for that captain or their team as well. We can now also resend a court assignment. So unless those of you have ran teams before in the past, typically what we would need to do is type in a court number, assign the court, or assign that match to that new court number, then assign it back to the court number that we wanted it to actually resend that device assignment to. So this offers a lot of, better support so that directors can help with a substitution or makeup matches. And then it also gives us a little bit more visibility as well. Now, right here on the right-hand side, we do have the live scoring. So there has been a little bit of an update that was done on Score Zone in order to really show, a little bit more of the details for our team's matches live. So that's one of those. So let me go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing this for just 1 second. Go ahead and show you exactly what this looks like. All right, perfect. So hopefully you can see this just a little bit, actually. Let's zoom in here. So let's say, for example, we're getting ready to start our match. This player right here, Gavino, decides that he can't figure out his phone. He's having a problem. He logged out, can't get in, whatever the case may be. We now have the ability to go ahead and help him. So then what we'll go ahead and do is go right in here. This is the title of this particular event. You can go and select their player pool. Let's say it's the, what do we want? The cornflakes. Okay, we'll do the cornflakes. So we'll plug in some of his players in here. Special order. Alrighty. Just throwing a couple of folks in here. 2, 2, 4. Oops, already in there. G1. Oops, they're already in there. Let's do Tyler. Okay. So we can submit their roster on their behalf if they need it for any reason. Now, of course, we do want these players to be able to do this on their own as well. Just push that one more time. Go in here. And then we'll refresh. So as you can see right here, Gabino now has all of his players in their dedicated spots. So he has them in their single spots and their double spots as well. Go back here. All right, perfect. So those are some really, really good updates with that particular portion of it. So we're really, really excited for that as well. Oops, slideshow. All right, there we go. All right, so what are some creative ideas that you can do with teams? You can run youth leagues, a 4-player format with rotating doubles, business or a club league, create a championship night. Theme nights are always really, really fun, and a draft night. So that will also help, keep a little bit of that community building, makes it a lot of fun, and players get very excited for those as well. So why ACL Teams? One of the bits of feedback that we had from our feedback form that was sent over to some of our players is it's the most fun I've had in cornhole. We've had a couple of folks also say that it is very different. It brought a unique flavor to what it is that we were doing, and that they were able to play with someone that they wouldn't have otherwise played with. We also had an intermediate player that had his very first podium picture ever, and he actually was the one who ended it with the final winning shot. So it was exciting. It was electric in the entire, place that we were at, and it was just a ton of fun to watch. Spectator friendly, 100%. Teams are a blast to watch. It drives a lot of loyalty and team pride. Put hello jerseys. You can do jerseys, t-shirts, whatever the case is. It just makes it that much more fun to do. This is also really, really good for schools. It teaches communication, accountability, competition. And again, it brings a lot of people who maybe wouldn't otherwise get to know each other. Real world success. So examples from across the ACL. Of course, we have our ACL Pro teams with state pride on the line. High school and college club programs. Those are starting to, get a little bit of momentum right now as well. Minor league teams, which we have quite a few of those. Those are, built through, local events in terms of, a lot of these directors who manage a team either found their players through local events, state events. They did, however it is that they built their teams. So that's another option. Mid-season bag bowl, that was just an example. State pride on the line, again, just bringing a lot of players together in order to play. The last one here. So get ready to build your team. So join in on the ACL's Teams movement. If you have never ran a Teams event, I would highly and strongly encourage it. It is a lot of fun to do. It builds a big part of your community. Players truly, truly love it. Create a poll. Ask your players, hey, if we run a quick little Teams league, what would you want to see? How would you like it to work? And just have fun with it. Teams is by far one of my favorite formats that the ACL has as we continue, to build it up, create a couple of other, pretty neat things within the software. It's going to make it very easy and very flexible to really do a lot more with it. So again, just set up your league. If you ever have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out. Use the ACL app to manage your teams, track your results, level up your club just by offering something a little bit different. Woo, and that was all. So wrap up and Q&A. So if anyone has any questions about Teams format, or anything like that, definitely drop them in the comments. If you are watching this and it's later on and you had a couple of questions, then feel free to send me a message and I will get back to you. And, I have a ton of examples, some spreadsheets, a couple of things that could definitely help you as well. There's a ton of information out there for Teams. One of the things that our area has done is probably ran Teams over the last 3 years. So we have a lot of team data that we can provide. Tandem, that is a great question. So tandem doubles, a couple ways to explain it. One way is it's crew cup divided by 2, or that's probably the easiest way. So it's 2 players that are going to be on one side and they interchange bags. It's only 2 players on the team, then they both walk. So it's a walking doubles, I think, is another one that I've heard before, but that's a great question. And tandem is a lot of fun. Tricky, but a lot of fun. But the easiest way that I like to explain it is crew cup divided by 2. Yes, walking doubles. Great question. All right, perfect. All right, so wait just a minute or so. All right. I don't see anything else coming in. If I happen to miss you, again, just send over a message. We can go over any other questions that you have. If you do get stuck or you're creating something, again, reach out. We'll be able to go over a couple of formats, some options. If you have an idea that you think sounds super crazy and impossible to use within our Teams format, again, send over a message. I'm sure we can find a way to kind of make it work. Russell. Thank you, Russell. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the week. If any of you are going to the Mesa Open, we will see you out there. Other than that, have an amazing rest of the day. Bye, guys.